The morning of April 24th, 1979, dawned like any other on Binney Street in Omaha, with the sun casting long shadows over the quiet neighborhood. Yet, as the clock crept towards midday, this serene setting would transform into the epicenter of a nightmare. A frantic call brought police rushing to the modest home of Sarah Melton, where they were greeted with a scene that would forever haunt their memories. Upon arrival, officers were met with chaos. The front door ajar, signs of a struggle evident in the disarray of the living room. Sarah and her son Jamal lay motionless, victims of a brutal and senseless act of violence. The officers moved cautiously through the house, careful not to disturb potential evidence amid the tragic tableau. The crime scene was rife with potential contaminants. Neighbors had gathered outside, curiosity mingling with horror. As officers cordoned off the area, one eagle-eyed detective noticed something out of place, a rare type of cigarette butt discarded near the back entrance. Neither Sarah nor anyone known to frequent her home smoked this brand, suggesting an intruder's presence. Determined to leave no stone unturned, investigators meticulously combed through the Melton home. At the Gilmer Police Station evidence room, they cataloged every piece of potential evidence. However, a troubling oversight soon emerged. Mismatched records hinted at possible missing evidence from the scene. Amidst mounting frustration, a breakthrough came in the form of partial DNA recovered from a hair follicle found on Sarah's clothing. Though insufficient for immediate identification in 1979, this discovery held promise for future technological advancements. To keep the investigation alive amid bureaucratic hurdles, detectives knew they needed more than just physical evidence. They required testimonies from those who knew Sarah and Jamal's routines. They canvassed Binney Street, knocking on doors and gathering accounts from neighbors about that fateful day. Interviews painted a picture of Sarah as a devoted mother and Jamal as a lively child full of curiosity. But alongside these familiar stories came unsettling whispers about shadowy figures seen near their home in recent weeks. Conflicting reports muddied the waters. Some claimed to have seen a man loitering near the Meltons' residence on multiple occasions. One neighbor's recollection stood out, a vague yet compelling description of a man spotted near their home on the day of the murder. This account provided investigators with their first potential suspect profile. However, without concrete evidence or corroboration, it served merely as an unsettling specter in their search for truth. This newfound lead prompted detectives to begin a preliminary search into local records for individuals matching this description. Yet as they delved deeper into these profiles, doubts lingered. Was it truly connected, or just another dead end? As night fell over Omaha and detectives returned to their desks at Gilmer Police Station, poring over files and photographs under flickering fluorescent lights, an unsettling realization took hold. Their suspect list was growing longer by the minute. In those dimly lit offices, just as one detective decided to call it a night, a phone rang, its shrill tone cutting through the silence like a knife. On the other end was an anonymous tipster who claimed to know something about that rare cigarette brand found at the scene. The voice was shaky but insistent, a piece of information that could shatter their understanding of what happened on Binney Street. As they scrambled to trace this lead, questions hung heavy in the air. Who was this tipster? Could this be the break they needed, or was it yet another twist in an already tangled web? The truth lay tantalizingly out of reach, a puzzle waiting to be solved. As the anonymous call echoed in their minds, detectives at the Gilmer Police Station knew they were onto something significant. The rare cigarette butt was a thread they could pull, potentially unraveling the complex tapestry of the Melton murders. With renewed determination, they turned their attention to the forensic lab. At the Gilmer Police Forensics Lab, technicians worked tirelessly, hoping to match initial forensic findings with existing criminal databases. Despite their best efforts, the tests yielded no matches, leaving detectives frustrated and grappling with the limitations of their resources. Yet, amidst this setback, a breakthrough emerged: the cigarette brand, linked only to a handful of stores in the area. Armed with this new lead, detectives focused on identifying individuals who frequented these stores. They compiled a list of patrons and began tracing each one meticulously, hoping it would lead them closer to their elusive suspect. The narrowing of potential local leads offered a glimmer of hope amidst their mounting frustrations. Their next logical step was to revisit Omaha's police archives, combing through cold cases for potential connections to the Melton murders. The dusty shelves and dim lighting of the archives mirrored the labyrinthine nature of their investigation. Resource constraints loomed over them like a shadow, limiting access and slowing the processing of old case files. Despite these hurdles, an intriguing discovery surfaced: a case file detailing a murder with a modus operandi eerily similar to the Melton case. This revelation suggested a potential link to their current suspect profile and prompted detectives to delve deeper into Marcus Hale's past. There was an unsettling pattern emerging that needed further scrutiny. With Hale's name resurfacing in their investigation, detectives decided to explore his history more intricately. Their search led them to Sarah Melton's former workplace, an office buzzing with whispered conversations and hesitant glances as they sought insights from her colleagues. The atmosphere was tense. Many employees were reluctant to speak openly about Sarah or her interactions at work. Detectives sensed an underlying fear of reprisals, which stymied open dialogue. However, persistence paid off when one coworker discreetly approached them. In hushed tones, she revealed that Marcus Hale had once harbored an unrequited interest in Sarah. This unspoken history hinted at a possible motive, jealousy or rejection that might have festered into something more sinister. It was a lead too significant to ignore. This newfound clue revitalized interest in reevaluating singular and pointed interviews with acquaintances from Sarah's past. Detectives felt the pieces beginning to fit together. Hale's interest in Sarah added depth to his potential motive, which demanded further exploration. As they began setting up these interviews, another call came through. A report that someone fitting Hale's description had been seen near another location tied to an older unsolved case. This revelation sent chills down their spines. The city lights flickered outside as detectives absorbed this new development, a chilling reminder that time was not on their side. They had been given just enough information to reignite their pursuit, but not enough to form a complete picture. In those moments of mounting tension and urgency, one thing became clear. Marcus Hale's past held secrets darker than anyone had anticipated. Could this newly surfaced sighting be another piece in the puzzle or a dangerous misdirection? As detectives prepared for another long night at their desks, piecing together threads from decades-old mysteries and fresh leads alike, uncertainty loomed large over their every move. And then came another call, this time from within Douglas County Corrections, a message that would shatter everything they thought they knew about Marcus Hale's connection to the Melton murders. The call from within Douglas County Corrections reverberated in the detectives' minds, challenging their understanding of Marcus Hale's involvement in the Melton murders. With this unsettling revelation, they knew they had to confront Hale directly. Arriving at Marcus Hale's residence in Omaha, the detectives were met with a scene of quiet normalcy. Hale, now 67, opened his door with a demeanor that was unexpectedly calm. His eyes held a steady gaze, almost as if he had anticipated their arrival. "I have nothing to hide," Hale began, his voice firm, yet devoid of any visible fear or agitation. Despite his apparent composure, the detectives pressed on, revisiting his ties with Sarah Melton. They recounted the whispers from Sarah's former colleagues about Hale's unrequited interest in her. Hale's response was dismissive. He denied any connection beyond acquaintanceship, insisting he had been elsewhere on that fateful day in 1979. Just as the conversation seemed to reach an impasse, an unexpected development arose. A neighbor appeared at Hale's doorstep, offering an alibi that seemed too convenient. "Marcus was with me all day," she claimed, her testimony poised to deflect suspicion momentarily. Yet, something about her account felt rehearsed, prompting skepticism among the officers. The detectives knew they couldn't let this go unchallenged and decided to investigate the validity of both Hale's claims and his neighbor's sudden defense. At the Omaha Forensic Processing Center, they focused on correlating Hale's alibi with existing evidence. As they sifted through records and reevaluated testimonies, inconsistencies began to surface. Eyewitness accounts from 1979 subtly contradicted Hale's and his neighbor's statements. An intriguing breakthrough came when a forensic analyst identified an overlooked fabric fiber from the Melton crime scene. This fiber matched one found at Hale's property during a search years earlier, strengthening the circumstantial evidence against him. These discoveries raised pressing questions about Hale's previously established innocence and highlighted gaps in past investigations. The detectives felt renewed urgency to re-examine these weak spots that had previously allowed him to evade justice. However, as they prepared to present this new evidence at the Douglas County Courthouse, an unexpected blow struck their case. Despite their efforts, prosecutors deemed the evidence insufficient to secure a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. Frustration mounted as charges against Hale were dropped once more. The courtroom decision intensified their resolve, rather than dampened it. The detectives returned to their desks with a revitalized focus on reanalyzing every detail of the case, intent on exploiting advancements in forensic technology that could turn the tide in their favor. While poring over case files late into the night, one detective stumbled upon an archived memo detailing a peculiar method of entry used in another unsolved murder eerily similar to that of Sarah and Jamal Melton's case. This connection sent chills down their spine, suggesting a broader pattern linked to Marcus Hale and other unresolved cases. As dawn broke over Omaha once again, the detectives prepared for another grueling day of investigation. They were determined not to let Sarah and Jamal's memories fade into cold case archives forever. Then came another phone call, this time from a retired officer who had worked on the Melton case back in 1979. His voice was grave as he revealed something he had kept hidden for decades: an envelope containing photographs never before seen by current investigators. The promise of new evidence hung heavy in the air as detectives clung to hope for a breakthrough, a missing link that could finally unravel the mystery surrounding Marcus Hale once and for all. The envelope from the retired officer had barely been opened when the detectives learned the advanced forensic lab in Omaha was ready to reanalyze the partial DNA sample from the Melton crime scene. This time, they were armed with cutting-edge technology that could provide a level of precision unimaginable in decades past. As they arrived at the lab, anticipation mingled with anxiety. Equipment malfunctions and power surges threatened to derail their efforts, yet persistence paid off. Under the sterile glow of fluorescent lights, lab technicians meticulously re-examined the fragment of DNA. When the results came in, they were irrefutable. Marcus Hale's genetic profile matched definitively. This breakthrough was the key they needed, a concrete link binding Hale to the horrific events on Binney Street. With this new evidence in hand, the detectives knew a renewed case against Hale must be airtight. They immediately set off for the Douglas County District Attorney's office. Here, they faced another hurdle. Legal technicalities loomed like storm clouds, threatening to delay proceedings. Yet, as they presented the DNA evidence, the DA's team uncovered additional circumstantial data that bolstered their case. Freshly analyzed records revealed inconsistencies in Hale's past alibis and introduced compelling motives rooted in his complicated history with Sarah Melton. These findings fueled a sense of urgency among law enforcement, each piece forming a more complete picture against Hale. Determined not to lose momentum, detectives orchestrated a rapid strategy for Hale's rearrest at dawn. Approaching Douglas County Corrections Facility under the cover of early morning light, tension charged the air. As officers moved in, Marcus Hale exhibited an unexpected resistance. Panic etched across his face when confronted with his reality. Amidst the commotion of his capture, further searches unearthed personal articles, letters, and photographs hidden within Hale's belongings. These items painted an unsettling narrative, tying him emotionally to Sarah and Jamal in ways previously unseen. These revelations added another layer of motive to their growing case file. The arrest sent ripples through Omaha, reigniting public interest and media scrutiny over a case that had haunted the city for decades. Journalists flocked to capture community sentiments. Some residents expressed relief at Hale's apprehension, while others were skeptic, raising questions about justice delayed and possibly denied. As detectives sat amidst this whirlwind of renewed attention, they realized they had only scratched the surface of a deeper story. The mounting evidence suggested that what seemed like a straightforward case might conceal broader implications yet to be uncovered. In that moment of reflection, another call came through. A tip from a former neighbor of Sarah Melton who claimed knowledge of an undisclosed relationship involving Sarah that might have influenced events leading up to her murder. The detectives' excitement was tempered by caution as they prepared for this new line of inquiry. What secrets might still be buried beneath layers long thought resolved? As they prepared to delve deeper into this revelation, one thing became clear. Every answer unearthed seemed only to lead them closer to more questions. And then another call shattered their contemplation. A colleague informed them that Hale had collapsed during processing at the facility under mysterious circumstances. Suddenly, a new layer of urgency gripped their hearts. What could this mean for their investigation? Questions swirled as they raced toward Douglas County Corrections once more. What truths lay behind Hale's sudden collapse? And was this yet another piece in an ever-expanding puzzle? The answers lay just out of reach as they stormed into action once again. The news of Marcus Hale's collapse sent shockwaves through the investigation team. As detectives made their way to Douglas County Corrections, uncertainty loomed large. Arriving at the facility, they learned Hale had been stabilized but remained under observation. His health scare, while alarming, did not deter their pursuit of justice. The following day, Omaha Town Hall was packed with residents eager to voice their opinions on the reopened case. The atmosphere was charged with tension as a mix of emotions filled the room: relief, skepticism, and anger. The town hall meeting provided a platform for both support and criticism of law enforcement. Some residents expressed gratitude for Hale's rearrest, while others voiced distrust, recalling past failures within the justice system. Amidst the heated discussions, a few long-standing residents shared insights about Hale's behavior post-1979. One elderly man recounted seeing Hale acting strangely in local parks, often late at night, appearing restless and agitated. These forgotten truths painted a picture of a man haunted by dark memories, an insight that prompted detectives to re-examine personal accounts linked to Hale. Back at Gilmer Police Station, detectives revisited testimonies from 1979. The passage of time had clouded many recollections, yet one statement stood out. A witness had previously mentioned seeing Hale arguing with another man near Binney Street shortly before the murders. At the time, this account was dismissed as speculative. However, with fresh insights from 2023 and knowing Hale's past interest in Sarah Melton, this testimony now hinted at a possible vendetta motive. This clarified motive led investigators to consider the possibility of accomplices or co-conspirators who might have aided Hale in covering his tracks. As they dug deeper into community ties and connections from 1979, a clearer path began to emerge, a network of acquaintances who could have influenced or assisted Hale. With this newfound clarity, they prepared for the trial of Marcus Hale at Douglas County Courthouse. The prosecution faced challenges as the defense attempted to cast doubt on the evidentiary timeline. They argued that advancements in DNA technology could not definitively place Hale at the scene in 1979 without corroborating evidence. Yet despite these challenges, Hale's own inconsistencies during testimony proved compelling for his conviction. Under cross-examination, he faltered when questioned about his whereabouts on critical dates and details surrounding his relationship with Sarah Melton. The jury hung on every word as Hale contradicted earlier statements made during investigations. The weight of accumulated evidence, DNA links, newly credible testimonies, and personal letters formed an undeniable narrative. Hale's conviction brought a sense of closure to many in Omaha, but it also left room for exploring unresolved subplots. As community members gathered outside the courthouse steps post-verdict, conversations buzzed with questions about healing and lingering truths yet uncovered. Despite the verdict providing justice for Sarah and Jamal Melton's memory, whispers persisted about what truly transpired all those years ago. Did others share in Hale's guilt? Were there hidden alliances that shielded him from discovery for so long? As night descended over Omaha once more, one chilling realization lingered. Even with Hale behind bars, an unsettling aura of unfinished business hung over Binney Street, a haunting reminder that some secrets refuse to stay buried.